Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is you are, depending on wherever you are, whatever you're up to. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. We're here live and loud for this week's Euro show. I've really struggled to think of what we're calling it, but this week on Sorare TV, it's good to see you guys both back. Fedo, it looks like you're in a bit of an exotic climate this week. And he's frozen on us. There we go. Fedo is... oh, no, he's back.
That's what holidays does. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I think we might lose. No, we've got him. Or maybe not. Yeah, I'm not sure we've got you, Fedo, by the way. We might have lost a man overboard. But Jeremy, we've got you, and also in different surroundings. Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's exotic, right? I am still in Australia, but it is definitely winter time. I don't have the sunglasses, and as we can see right now behind him, the beautiful sun and blue sky that Fedo has. Yeah, thanks for having me, as usual. You know, Liga is exciting. We had the start of Bundesliga and Serie A over the weekend, so heaps and heaps of action everywhere in Europe. So I'm glad that we're here to talk about it. Hopefully, Fedo comes back soon. He's enjoying the holidays too much, I think.
Yeah, I am.
Just thought I'd
hide him while he was...
Remove that blue sky.
He's roaming around the villa. Yeah, we can't hear you, Fedo. Oh, no, maybe you're not talking. Here we go. That's him. He's inside and he's set up and ready to rock. Fedo, good to see you, mate.
He removed the sunglasses, but he hasn't put the mic on yet. He's going to have to do some lip reading. I think. There he is.
Hey.
So well, no, so I'm back in because outside I thought the internet would be the best, but I'm back inside because apparently it's better inside. But I'm on holiday, so I've watched some games, but even I couldn't have catched my favorite team, Bayern Munich, playing. So yeah, we have loads to talk about, and I'm very happy to be here with my two mates and talk about some stuff we actually do really enjoy and love. And today is a little bit a special one for me because I'm on holiday again, and yeah, it wasn't planned, but nothing comes in our way, and we will always do this.
Love it, Fedo. And yeah, Bayern Munich were back in action on the Friday night game. Yeah, we can hear you, buddy. No problem at all. And yeah, we're excited to see the Bundesliga come back on, or the Fundesliga, as some people like to call it. And Bayern Munich were back on the Friday night, 4-0 win against a really strong Werder Bremen team, Fedo. And like, it was a good kind of Bayern performance. I'm a big Goretzka fan. I bought a Goretzka card before the team came out, just because I gave myself this kind of hunch that maybe Goretzka will get a good move this summer because Thomas Tuchel is thoroughly freezing him out. And there's a lot of teams out there. Fed is back. There's a lot of teams out there, Fed, that need a midfielder like him. So I bought him before he was announced in the lineup, but I put Leimer in all my SO5 teams. So it was a bit of a bittersweet one watching Bayern Munich for me, but Thomas Tuchel said he needed Goretzka in there. He needed a bit more of a man mountain in midfield rather than Leimer, because Werder Bremen are a team of men, team of giants, very robust and very physical. But it took them a while to get going, Bayern, but they looked really good for it. Harry Kane seems to fit in pretty well, but he was getting cramp and stuff like that. He was getting slagged at the end of the game by Sané and Musiala, all these guys, because this is the hardest he's ever worked, clearly, you know, in terms of on a football pitch. And all this chat of, is he good enough for the Bundesliga and all that? He's cramping up after 70 minutes. It was just, it was a good performance, and it was good entertainment as well.
To be honest, just because I know you talked about Goretzka, I heard like from Bayern insiders who actually work at FC Bayern Munich that Tuchel was very pleased with the performance Goretzka had, and that people are kind of hushing, or maybe Goretzka is kind of back, because as we all know, Goretzka is actually a very, very good player, but in recent months he has been kind of slaggy, not on point, not there with the head. And so now people are starting to really think, oh, maybe he's back. And now I heard even from a friend of mine that they are even considering selling Ryan Gravenberch, because they are feeling really, really, really confident with going with Goretzka and Leimer into the season in a way on this position.
Interesting. So maybe we're going to be a bit more of a pain in the neck for me than anything, deciding who's going to be playing every week, but we'll do our best.
Yeah, we will.
But I think Bayern will be the machine, but this season, you know, Alphonso Davies on the left, Mazraoui on the right was kind of rubbish, to be honest with you. He didn't really do much in the game. Musiala, of course, has been always just stardust embodied in a human being, you know. And I think Bayern are going to be a real machine. 4-0 against Bremen. I think like at different points last season, that might have been 1-1, 2-1 to Bayern. Might have been a bit of a tighter game. And maybe Werder Bremen, like they're a handy team. They could have done something. But with Kane up front, it just feels like the rest of the team, like Goretzka, like you said, he looked a wee foot taller. He looked like his old self again, quite imposing in midfield. And having that kind of real air to Lewandowski up there seemed to make a real difference. One team I know where we're all quite excited to see come back for this season was Xabi Alonso's Bayer Leverkusen, and they had a great opening weekend fixture against Leipzig. So it's a really easy one for me to tune into and watch, and it did not fail to live up to expectation. You know, it was one of those classic Bundesliga games where the team at home or the slightly better team on the pitch goes in front, and then the other team claw it back throughout the whole match. It's total cat and mouse the whole game. It was a real fun watch, and yeah, it was really you know, Bayern Leverkusen thoroughly deserved the 3 points, and any preseason hype I think anyone had around them is justified at this point. After one game, they looked really good for it.
I just want to add one more thing about Bayern Munich because you didn't really touch upon it, but I think it's very, very crucial to understand that this season, especially players like Kingsley Coman and Leroy Sané will do so much better because they have a guy like Kane in the middle that actually gets the goals inside the net. And you saw that with Kingsley Coman and Sané. Kingsley Coman, for me, had the better game in real life, but even Leroy Sané played on a completely different level than last year. And he also had, I think, a goal and an assist. And this is going to happen way more often because you actually have a striker in the box who's going to just nail them into the goal. And that's what those wingers fed on about. And yeah, I think for me personally, if I would choose a Bayern striker at the moment, Harry Kane, I know is very, very expensive. But if you want to have like a Coman or a Sané, both of them, of course, have rotation issues because Gnabry is going to play some games. That's for sure. But I think those guys will have a better AA than Kane and have this still synergy with Kane. So I think it's a very good shout to either one of those two. And I think, me personally, I love Leroy Sané. I think he changed his mind completely. He's super hard working now in defense as well. Tuchel seems to really appreciate his work ethic at the moment. I'm a big fan of Leroy Sané, but Kingsley Coman is super, super important as well. And yeah, we will have to see. I just wanted to point it out that those two players could have a massive, massive season in real life, but also on Sorare.
Yeah, no, I'm totally right on that. Good catch. I am on that one for sure. I think like with the Leverkusen game, especially like, you know, just with, because there wasn't much else going on in Germany. It was just Bayern, and then that game, I didn't really catch much else. There wasn't much else going on. But Boniface was really impressive in this game. And I was seeing a lot of people, it wasn't me saying this before anyone that goes for me, but a lot of people making some very loose Victor Osimhen comparisons in terms of maybe just the impact he made on the game, but also a little bit stylistically. He really made a big impression. He linked up very well with Florian Wirtz, and Wee Frimpong was amazing. Got a goal and an assist, I'm pretty sure, in the end. He came off with an injury towards the end, but I think it was like a neck or a shoulder thing. Like it was a collision kind of thing. So it's probably just he couldn't complete the match rather than it's like an injury. But keep your eyes open for that just in case if you have a card. But big Boniface, because like, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I've been watching Leverkusen over the last few seasons, Schick, even Holsek, Asmun, you know, lots of these guys are 5, 6 out of 10 players, you know, at best. You know, they're not that kind of level up that can do much more in the game. And seeing that Boniface play, it just, honestly, he just really feels like, you know, the missing piece of the puzzle in that team. They looked brilliant, you know.
And a question I have to you, Quinny, because I sadly couldn't catch those games because I had priorities this weekend, as you might have seen. But how did Palacios and Xhaka link up? I heard very good things about those two.
Aye, so Xhaka, mate. So see from a tactical perspective, right? See the way did I put a wee video out already, or maybe I'm going to? I can't remember, but
I saw one.
I might have done, but they played out in a little back three, right? And then Xhaka and Palacios were just this little platform that went around together and just like kept the play above them. But then, see as the game went on, about 3 or 4 occasions, Kosunu Odilon was just allowed to go centre forward. And he was just going boom, and you know, for like 30 seconds, for like a little phase of play, he would just go boom and just jump up to like up front and overload, and Xhaka Palacios wouldn't move. You know what I mean? But it's just that, yeah, crazy indeed. So it'll be interesting to see if it's always Odilon, or maybe if against a different team it might be Tapsoba, because Tapsoba can take yards as well. He's not shy of coming up the pitch. But Grimaldo was just long pass merchant, like brilliantly. He's finding channels for Boniface and Wirtz and all these guys. Palacios and Xhaka are just going around metronoming the game, just ticking everything over, finding the pockets, going everywhere, controlling the game, as it were. And then Frimpong is just like two right wingers. Him and Hoffman are just doubling up on left backs and just going for it. It was really good to see. And I guess Leipzig, the thing about Leipzig in this game is they were painfully Leipzig. They didn't change at all. They just stuck to Leipzig RB football, even though Leverkusen just came to completely exploit it. You know what I mean? They just let them do it. And that's why it was a real ding-dong affair. Leipzig did look good, even though they were being that kind of just play this one way no matter what, even though we're getting outnumbered all over the pitch. Openda looked really sharp. Schlager. Seawald looked really good, by the way. I was really impressed with Seawald. Seawald was a wee bit more of he made a few tactical fouls, let's say. He was quite happy to just drop somebody at the ground to break up play and do that kind of thing, And yeah, it was overall a really good match. But Leverkusen were, as I've just described, very dynamic, and Xhaka and Palacios were a big part of it.
I think it's interesting, and Fedo, I'll take you as my witness there, but to see the change of Xabi Alonso this season, I think up until Bayer Leverkusen has always, in recent years, has been this place that gets the young players out and recruits young players. But now Xabi Alonso, after taking them when they were almost fighting to avoid relegation and bringing them to Europa League, he kind of understood that you're going to have to add a couple of pretty experienced players to be able to hold all that youth together. And with Hoffman and Xhaka, it looks like he did just that. And it's really helpful. And Quinny, what you're saying about the tactics that they're playing, having those two boys in the middle, they are really consolidate everything. For Boniface, I mean, it's great. You always wonder, a guy who comes from Jupiler, is he going to be able to adapt that quick to Bundesliga? And he does it well. But yeah, I mean, again, correct me if I'm wrong, Fedo, but right now, Xabi Alonso is a bit of the boy wonder up in Germany. Everybody talks either about Union Berlin or Xabi Alonso. So it's going to be, I think, an interesting arc to follow, because right now he's everybody's favorite, but he's going to have to confirm to stay that way.
No, I completely agree with you. I think he had to find his squad, as you said. You saw the brilliance he had in some games in the last season, especially in the middle of the season when he took over. At the end, he slowed down a little bit, but probably because also the players were exhausted, because they played Europa League, they played Bundesliga, they played everything, so they probably will have been exhausted. And I think if you give him some time, I think he's going to be a very crucial manager. I think what was super important for him is that, especially because he himself was a player like that who built up everything from the middle, himself, Xabi Alonso. And now he found his duo, as we said, with Palacios and Xhaka. And that's going to be a crucial thing in the future. And I think if he keeps up this pace and Palacios, for once, stays healthy, he's going to get a huge transfer out of the Bundesliga after the season, because he's perfect adapted for this playing style, for counter pressing, but also for playmaking. And he's also on sets, which is crazy. And Xabi Alonso, if he's doing good, probably it's not even a secret anymore, he's gonna be the replacement of Carlo Ancelotti at Real Madrid. So that's pretty high prices already for a trainer who just has his first professional club in Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah, there was one stat, I think, in Germany over the weekend that is worth mentioning. Unfortunately, it's French, but I don't know if you have heard. Union Berlin beat Mainz 4-1, and for Mainz, Ludovic Ayork missed not one but two penalty, and apparently he's the first player. It's either in the history of Bundesliga or in the past 4 years of Bundesliga or whatever to miss two penalty within the same game, which obviously helped Union Berlin beat Mainz, and another French guy scored for Mainz, Cassie. But yeah, Union Berlin is doing okay as well. a triple a hat trick for Behrens and Kevin Volland, the former Monaco guy who just signed for Union Berlin, got an assist as well, and he's a bit of a get. I know Alex Assa was pretty happy to see him going over there, so he could actually use his super rare.
I didn't know Volland had went there. That's interesting. Another league came back this weekend as well. I didn't get to see much of, unfortunately. I only caught the final 20-30 minutes of the Lazio game, hoping to see a wee bit of Castellanos and a wee bit of Daichi Kamada. And that was, actually Lazio were winning 1-0, and then Lecce turned it around in the final 3 minutes. So it was quite exciting, to be honest with you, but it didn't really go the way of Lazio or Mauricio Sarri. But I think a lot of the headlines have been coming out Juventus over this weekend in Italy, Fedo, wasn't it?
Yes, Juve played really good, as I projected in a way. I think you see that Chiesa and Vlahovic really want to stay at Juve and want to bring this project forward. And they had a youthful spirit in attack, which is super strange from a Allegri team. But apparently he has a new attacking coach who completely has his trust. And Allegri is basically doing they're doing what he says in attack, and that could be very good. Rock solid defensively. Of course, it was just Udine, but still not at home. They didn't play at home, I think. Yeah, they didn't play at home, and that was rock solid. Danilo is a crazy defender, and Rabiot as well. I don't like him as a player and as a human being, but he's a good footballer.
It's the hair jealousy.
I think Juve was actually doing pretty good. And as I said, if they don't have any other competition in Serie A, I think they're going to be very dangerous. And I did like the link up between Chiesa and Vlahovic. I think that's what the Juventini wanted for the last 3 years to happen. It didn't happen. This game, it did happen. Let's see how it works. I'm looking forward. They have always been very good defensively with Allegri. Maybe it's going to change with the new co-trainer, that they could be decent in attack. I'm not going to say they're going to be Manchester City-like, but maybe decent in attack. It's good enough already for Juve. And you could actually build a nice stack out of it. I think not much is going to change anymore at Juve, but let's see.
I was listening to on Juve, Fedo. I was listening to some journalists to cover Serie A, and they were saying that apparently there was some pretty serious conversation in the off season where Allegri was told, with the talent that there is in the team, you have to let us play the way we should be playing, and it's technically a trial of 7-8 games where they're going to play that offensive football where they are pressing everywhere. I've never seen them pressed where they pressed this weekend last year, Juventus, and if it works out, kind of trying to stick to it. So it's I don't want to say that too quickly, but maybe Max Allegri has understood that football is played somewhere else than his own half.
No, I think Max Allegri does understand how you have to defend. If he now understands even 40% how good he is in defense, in attack, then I think you could be cooking in a way. And let's see. I think if they don't lose Vlahovic and Chiesa, it's going to be massive for Juve. Danilo is a great captain, a great guy, a great player. I think they have a very solid team. Tim Weah looked decent, but the guy I was most surprised and who made me think, wow, that's a great player, is the new left back who took Kostic's place. By the way, Andrea Cambiaso, very good player. He was super fast and he was running up and down like a train. I was really impressed. I think this kid could have he could have the starting spot this season, especially he's Italian and he's under 23 as well yet. I think he scored I don't know. Can somebody check how much he scored on Sorare this game week? Because if he scores like that and Juve is very good defensively, I think it could be a very, very good stack for the defense to put him in your either Champion Europe or in under 23.
He dropped an 89.
Without anything?
Well, he got an assist.
Yeah, but he dropped an 89, and it's not going to be his last 89. He's very good.
Oh, he's got an assist.
He's very, very good.
He was very good at
Yeah.
Bologna as well. I didn't know Juventus had signed him. I know Kostic is on his way out,
No,
but I didn't realise.
He was on loan on Bologna from Juve. He's
Oh,
always
really?
been a Juve player. Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He
He was
was
handy.
at Genova. He was at Genova before. They bought him when he was at Genova, and then they loaned him out to Bologna. They loaned him out back to Genova. Then they loaned him out to Bologna, and then they got him in this summer break. And he basically said Allegri loved him when he saw him in the summer tour and said, "Okay, he's staying." And because he kicked out players like Rovella, for example, Luca Pellegrini, but he wanted Andrea Cambiaso to stay, and I think he's gonna be a starting 11 player now.
That's a good progression, isn't it? From Genoa with these scores, kind of in and out the team doing okay. Bologna gets a bit better, not that much better, but he's obviously not playing every game. And then Juventus, boom.
Yeah. It's not the worst if you have Danilo, Brema, and Gatti behind you. You can do a little bit more fun in the offense. It's a little bit better than having Stefan Posch or Lukaimi behind you.
Yes, I'd agree with that.
AC
Milan.
Sorry. Oh, so I was going to ask before we get to AC Milan, because I've watched AC Milan as well. But did you catch Napoli, Fedo? Because I've heard a press conference of Rudi Garcia, who basically said, again, it looks like coaches are growing up these days, and it's surprising, who basically said that he doesn't know why he would change the way Spalletti was playing, because it works so well. So he's going to trust the player to do what they usually do, and to play the same kind of attacking football that they've been doing last year, which again is so unlike Rudi Garcia. But it seemed to work with, obviously Osimhen scoring twice over the weekend. Did you get to see them?
No, I didn't watch Napoli. I watched a bit of Fiorentina, as Ugo Rossonero said. I watched Inter, I watched Milan, and I watched Juve. I watched the three big North Italian teams, let's say that. And I
let's go to Milan then, because I was watching Milan.
I want to say one thing about Inter. Inter does look solid, to be honest. I have to give a praise to Lautaro Martinez. He's so underrated. He's so good as a player. I think he's the best player in 2023 minutes per goal in the whole football at the moment. I think he has 88 minutes and he scores a goal. And I think number 2 is Osimhen with 90 minutes, and then number 3 is Harry Kane with 91 minutes. I mean, so Lautaro Martinez does look very, very good. Hakan Çalhanoğlu is perfect link up for Lautaro Martinez, but apparently he has a Saudi offer, so maybe we need to pay attention there with Hakan. They're gonna get Pavard, so he's gonna. I'm not a big fan of Farah. I think he's shit. I think he's a very bad player. But I think he could do good in a back 3 at Inter. I'm not the biggest fan of Sommer as well, but at Inter he could do okay. Barella he's on special days. He's a magician. Federico Di Marco is a very good player. I did like what Inter did, but yeah. As I said, I think either Juve, Inter, or Milan are gonna win the Scudetto, and we have to see who's been, because every 3 teams I've watched looked phenomenal on the ball. Of course, there's still room to grow, but it really did look phenomenal. And I think the best a match I'm also already looking forward to is after the national break. I think the next game after the national break is gonna be the Derby della Madonnina, and then I'm actually really excited to see how this new Inter and this new Milan look against each other. It's gonna be beautiful, and I'm gonna enjoy it with every bit.
I hear Alex Sanchez apparently is signing for Inter today.
Who is?
Alexis Sanchez, 1 year contract, 2.5 million salary. Obviously,
Why?
Marseille was on him, so I was looking at it. And he's going back to Inter for a season. Interesting third choice striker to have.
Yeah, it's a weird one. You can't get Lukaku, so you go get Alexis Sanchez. I don't get that. I just put Fiorentina on the screen there because their scores were actually pretty juicy. By the way, Mandragora, that's how you say it. Artur Bonaventura, huge scores. Even Nico Gonzalez, who's maybe on the way out. I think some teams are after him at the moment. But yeah, they were tight enough.
Viragi scored a screamer. Viragi scored a screamer of a goal. I was pissed when I saw that Quarta was not playing instead of Luca Ranieri. But yeah, they played really good, and I think Fiorentina is looking good. They now also got Lucas Beltran. I don't know if he's gonna start in a team like now because they really did play good. But Italiano is a good gaffer. I think he has the right mentality, and I'm actually excited to see how Fiorentina can go up, especially because we talked about this. I think last episode that Fiorentina is a team that hasn't been great the last years, but used to be a very good team, and maybe this year it's time for a comeback. If they don't lose Amrabat, then I think they actually have a chance to play in the upper range of Serie A.
Talk to us about the greatest striker that ever lived, Olivier Giroud.
He is a great striker. He's a great striker. He's maybe not a great footballer, but he's a great striker. Let's say it like that. First about Milan, I think I love Tijani Reinders. I think he's so good, and he had so many special moments.
Pulisic as well.
Pulisic was what a screamer of a goal from Pulisic, but like Mamma Mia, Rafael Leao is a special player. Like holy moly, he's just joyful to watch, and he loves playing football. You see that he just loves playing football. I also like Theo Hernandez, but I think sometimes Theo Hernandez just hurts the team in the way he plays because he's just so egoistic and just runs and doesn't pass the ball, even if other players are in so much better positions. I think Theo Hernandez like misjudged three crucial moments in the game where we could have had a very, very, very promising counterattack. But that's the game of Hernandez, and that's what makes him special in a way. But sometimes I really don't like it, and especially because Rafael Leao and also Tijani Reinders were so often in a so much better position that could have been very great. But Mike Magnon, Malik Tiaf, what a player he is! He needs to learn a bit more to the progression, but as a defender, crazy. And I'm honest. I think these scores he scored without having any decisive are gonna be regular for him. So he's gonna be a very valid point in any U23 team, either in Super Rare or in Rare, because I think he scores are good enough in Rare. Even as in Limited, his scores are gonna be good enough. And I'm a big fan of this kid. I'm glad he chose the German national team, and I'm if he keeps up playing like this, he's gonna start the Euro as well. You heard it here first, but he's gonna start the Euro as well if he keeps playing like that.
They did okay, Milan, and yeah, I think Thiago really pushed everybody to make sure that he had room, which is no small feat because there was Kalulu who was so great when they got the title, and there's Simon Kier as well in there, but Thiago is the starter. Yeah, I was impressed with how like Reinders straight away made his place as well, and Krunic was okay. I think what you said about Theo Hernandez, I think I'd say the same thing about Leao. I mean, he's a special talent, but a couple of times at the end of the game, like he's got Okafor and Reinders by themselves in the middle of the box, and that one where he dribbles everyone and gets into the box, if he passes the ball, it's a goal for sure, but he's trying to like, do it all by 100%. Himself.
Sorry, yeah, 100%, Jeremy. I completely agree. I don't think he maybe would have done that if the score wouldn't have been 2-0. But as Ugo said as well, he is still in vacation, but if he is that good, the first game week, still in vacation mode, I'm very excited to see how it's gonna be in 1 month. Leao is a crazy player, and if nothing against Jeremy Doku, if Jeremy Doku goes for 65 million to Man City, I don't know. I don't want to know how much Rafael Leao is worth.
I'll just
exactly what his agent will be saying.
Yeah, 300 million if you go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
I'll just say something because they lost 2-0, but I think it's worth saying something about Bologna. They really can play football. I mean, we know that they do okay under Thiago Motta, who's playing with, like, it looks like there's only 12 players that can really play in that team, and the rest of the bench, they're either a young player or player that he said he didn't want in the team anymore. But like they just play football well. I mean, they were down 2-0, so Milan probably left them with the ball quite a bit more. But the ball really circulated well, and you can see, Lukumi, who the score that he has despite losing 2-0, and same for the rest of the defense and the midfield. They just pass the ball a lot and are pretty patient into the build up, and against half of the team in Serie A, they'll definitely get very good scores. So it's probably one to look for.
I think Bologna, Thiago Motta is a good gaffer. I really like his work. Who for me stood out a bit in Bologna. I think he played very good. A little bit too selfish as well now, but I think it's gonna come more into the rotation and the rhythm. I think the Swiss kid they got from Basel, Di Ndoye, was really great, and he made huge troubles to the Milan defense. Like Magnan had to save 3 or 4 times on this kid, and I think he could be one to look out for. He's still under 23 as well. He looked really decent, to be honest.
So new one on me. Wow, yeah, he was good before he came, didn't he?
Yeah, he was good, and he looks good. He's super fast, super fast.
Yeah, watch out for this boy, Dan Ndoye. Great shout, Fedo. Anything else in Italy? I just thought I'd put up the Lazio game because it was just, if anyone didn't see it, they threw it away right at the end. 83rd and 87th minutes. And see this boy Almqvist. See if you've not seen his goal. He takes it brilliantly, by the way, this wee guy. He absolutely smashed it into the net. It was a proper volley. Like the ball's bouncing up and he just squares it up, waits for it to come down and just boom, laces right through it for the equaliser. Oh, yeah. Don't think we've got any SO5 scoring for this guy. Oh, we do. Not really that much. One of the best days of his career, probably. I just went and looked at his history, sorry, but pretty decent game for him overall. But I only watched the last little bit, and it was proper Sarri ball. We've seen this. I watched it. I must have turned on its second half because I seen Kamada play for about 10 minutes before he came off. Didn't realise that was as early as he came off. But yeah, so must have watched the second half. Lazio was just typical Sarri ball. They were pretty good, just didn't really get going. It did feel like Felipe Anderson was a bit of a handicap, and Isaacson came on quite quickly. He looked kind of lively, didn't get on the ball very often. Tati only came on for the last 2 minutes for Cataldi when they were throwing the kitchen sink at it, and I don't think he touched the ball, to be honest with you, quite unfortunately. And the boy Vicino came on for Kamada, and I don't think he looked good either. So, funny game to see. Lazio throwing that away, but just thought I'd throw that out there for anyone that cared.
Get the scores off the bench for Lecce.
That's great goals.
That was fantastic. So we've had a wee look over Germany and Italy, certainly. France isn't something I paid much mind this game week because it was all really around SO5 for me, and I didn't really have... As soon as I seen the PSG team has no Sorare in it, I'm kind of done for the weekend, Obviously, that's not the case. We had a big starting 11 for PSG, didn't we, Jeremy?
Yeah, we had... it wasn't in the starting 11, but it was on the team sheet. Mbappe is back, right? After all the drama of the summer, he's finally played a bit of football. But it's PSG is going to be, obviously, as every year, a team that we can look at. And I think with Luis Enrique, I think we're going to see some crazy scores, and we can expect them as soon as Mbappe came in at halftime. So PSG hasn't scored last week at home against Lorient. In the first half against Toulouse, they didn't score. And then Mbappe comes in at halftime, 10 minutes later, provokes a penalty, converts it. And that's the only goal that PSG has scored so far in the league, and that's Mbappe. So obviously it's going to be important. Mbappe, Dembele, Gonzalo Ramos up front is going to be deadly. Even if they get Colomwani, it's not going to be Ramos. It might be Colomwani, but it is going to be as impressive. Ugarte is a dog in the middle of the park, and that helps. What they need is either a better version of Fabian Ruiz or another player to replace him, because they miss a little bit of creativity, I think, to bring the ball from the middle to the front. Yeah, Manuel Ugarte was very strong, and defensively, Lucas Hernandez is doing a lot of good, and so is Skriniar, protecting Donnarumma, who's probably as always, a bit of the weak link. The reason why Hakimi has not so much of a good score is because he provoked a penalty, a pretty dumb one as well, and that's how the game finished 1-1. The team against who they played, Toulouse, is always a fun team to look at because they have this sort of like Brentford style of recruitment and all database, etc. And so last year they had a second goalkeeper who came from, I think, Denmark or something, and who helped them winning the Coupe de France. And then they got the goalkeeper from Las Palmas over the summer, and they thought there was going to be a battle between those two. But that guy that you're looking at right now, Guillaume Rest, who's 18 years old, is most likely going to be the starter because he's a mountain and he's so good. And everybody's saying that he's already the new Alban Lafont. He's 18 years old and he looks like he's matured beyond his years. So I think Toulouse hopefully all the cards are going to come out as well. And he's definitely one to watch. Cáceres, the former RB New York midfielder, has actually done okay. Last week he had a good score, and against Paris he did more than okay on the pitch. I'm sure the score will follow eventually. He took a couple of set pieces, which is probably worth noting for anybody who's interested in having him. But yeah, Toulouse is always a team to look for, and they're going to play Ligue Europa this year. So although it might be harder for them, it's actually a good team to keep an eye on. And then everywhere else in France, there was a former Premier League special with Takumi Minamino, who used to play for Liverpool, of course, who scored 2 goals and racked up an assist against Strasbourg. He got an assist last week as well. So his scores are going up straight away, and his floor probably doubled in the past week. He scored 100 this weekend, and Monaco is actually also probably a very good shout to kind of have a look at. Caio Henrique is always very good. Minamino's great. Ben Yedder, I mean, he scored 2 last week. He scored 1 this week, but I don't know if anybody is aware, he is right now under investigation for sexual assault. So although Monaco trusts him to play, if that comes to fruition, obviously he's not going to have much game time. But otherwise, Zakaria played straight away as soon as he got recruited by Monaco, and he did pretty good defensively because he's got the ability to actually get the ball out, and that's what this lovely coach, his name, Adi Hutter, really likes to see. So he's going to be important in that role. And I think Monaco will be strong. Strasbourg is the team that they play against, and is the team that belongs to Chelsea, of course. And they were, after the win last week, this week, they were definitely a little bit sad to watch. They have this young player. I think he got in from the bench, Angelo, which has been all the rage, has been bought by Chelsea and straight away loaned out to Strasbourg. He was playing in Brazil, and he's one to watch, but obviously he's super young. I don't know if we can see the S1.4. Yeah, he's got some okay scores for a kid who's that age only. So he's one that we're going to look at all season in Ligue 1 for sure. And then the team that's at the top right now in Ligue 1, well, that's Monaco, so it's good for them. And the other one is Brest, and anybody who plays Ligue 1 in SO5 knows that in Brest there's a play. Oh, who's Wilfried Singo? Oh yeah, I was watching.
I was going to say to you before you move on, did this guy actually play centre back? Because I watched him a wee bit in Italy last year, and he seemed more of a wing back.
Where does he come from? Because I was watching the game, and I was wondering. Where he came from. Where did he come from?
Torino it was. Was it right? Did they play centre back, or was he playing wing back? Do you recall?
He was playing centre back. But the way Adi Hutter plays, something that you probably know as well, Quinny, the centre back becomes strikers very quickly. So Singo and what's his name, Zakaria, they were just given all the freedom to go wherever, because Van der Sen and Caio Henrique, they are real wing backs. They are not they can't defend. So the three at the back, they actually have a lot of work to do defensively, but you can also see them just progressing with the ball and going all the way up. Yeah, look at his position, centre back or right midfielder.
That's what it was at Torino. It was like right mid, like right wing back. That's what I'm saying. Was he centre back? Because he must just be bombing up the pitch, eh? That Adi Hutter style. So fair play, man. He's going to be a monster. It feels like first game 100, man. No decisive.
Monaco's going to be good this season.
Yeah, I mean, also it's a dominant game. But like you say, Strasbourg are not exactly pushovers. They're not a powerhouse. And yeah, what was the next game? Sorry, Brest.
Yeah, I was talking about Brest because everybody who looks at Liga knows that in Brest you got Les Melou, who always scores crazy scores in the middle of the park. Well, now they got Del Castillo as well. If you look at Les Melou's last 15 and last 40, I think it's something stupid like 65 or whatever. But yeah, I think he was that high. But Del Castillo, who used to play for Rennes, scored a goal in I think this weekend, and then scored last week as well. But one good thing about this Brest game was in Le Havre, Kouzaïev finally showed his little nose for Le Havre. So he's the former Zenit St. Petersburg forward. So he's got like obviously crazy scores behind him playing from St. Petersburg, and he scored like a beautiful left-footed effort from the edge of the box. You don't even celebrate, just say, look, that's what I do, guys. Just get used to it. But he's going to be impressive. Le Havre is a team that I kind of rate, even though they lost at home right there. But yeah, they're just promoted, but they're going to be pretty good to watch, I reckon. And then, yeah, Del Castillo, all set pieces, corner and penalty. Yeah, absolutely. He takes everything for them because they don't have Belkebla anymore, Brest, so they need him. So he took the corner kick that gave Brassier his goal as well. And Bradley Loco, the left back, who scored well. I wasn't sure if I was going to start for Brest, but it's one that I would politely say don't jump on him because he's definitely got a mistake on him. He was at Reims last year, and he's a bit inconsistent. He's got some very good game, but he's definitely a little bit inconsistent. So take your time.
Good intel. Love to hear that. Okay, and I think I watched a fair amount of... Is there anything else in France you wanted to get us up to speed with, Jeremy? Sorry, no.
I mean, if you don't stop me, I'm going to go through all 10 games, but I think those were the most important ones that we talk about. We'll talk about Marseille when they win more games. They do okay, but we'll talk about them later.
Yeah, fair enough. I think we'll probably throw La Liga on at the end, so I don't think many people paid that much mind this week. But I think in the Premier League, we had a lot of slobber knocker matches, as some people might say. The first one, and I know, Jeremy, you didn't get to catch it, you were saying to me before we came on, but a lot of neutral fans around the world, were very interested to see Tottenham play Man United and see Big Ange, in his first home game, his first kind of big Premier League fixture, how we could get on. Would Ange Ball come into the Premier League and all that good stuff? And I managed to watch the game. I'm pleased to report that Ange Ball does work in the Premier League, and Tottenham absolutely ran over Man United. It was if you watch the game, it wasn't like they totally dominated them, if you know what I mean. But see, it was one of those ones. Without giving you every count of the whole game, right? If you've watched, like I know you have, Jeremy, if you've watched Postecoglou before, and anyone who's watching this as well, it's the whole mega press, it's the we never stop and all that kind of thing. Tottenham were already winning 2-0, but see when it got to the 77th minute, Man United were dead. Like, see if it was 0-0, Tottenham could have just went on and they could have done some stuff. They still tried. It's not as if Ange started changing and made them defensive or anything. They were still kind of pushing, but if it was 0-0, like they would have had another gear in them, you feel, to push on and still go and get the goal. At that point, Man United just died on their feet. Richarlison was rubbish, and when he came off, he was quite annoyed. It's hard to tell if he's annoyed at himself, that he didn't do better, if he's annoyed at the manager, not giving him the time. Hard to judge. But he's not an Ange centre-forward. On the first two games I've seen him play, I would very much expect him to be replaced, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was somebody nobody's ever heard of. Destiny Udogie, but on 31 points. See, if you watch this game, that does not do him a lick of justice. Like, he was Greg Taylor. Like, he's took Greg Taylor's soul, and he is playing in right attacking midfield at stages. Casemiro was shoulder to shoulder with Udogie more often than he was shoulder to shoulder with Maddison.
But that's a bit the problem of the Sorare scoring matrix, to be honest. Because even if they played superbly good in real life, Destiny Udogie is a special player, by the way. I wanted to bring him to the Bundesliga once. But even look at Grimaldo. I think he scored 27 points for Leverkusen.
Yeah,
something
some of
like
them
that
are not quantifiable.
Yeah, exactly. Even if he was one of the best players on the pitch, Grimaldo, you know what I mean? And it's just sometimes, especially fullbacks that lose possession loads because they're attacking so much, are gonna get punished by the game a lot. And even if they're really good and superbly crucial for their own teams, it's just not like replicated from Sorare side, or at least from SF5 side. But the crazy thing about those fullbacks, another very good example for that is Niels Nkunku from Saint-Etienne. The moment they actually hit, they make 100. They just hit 100. But like I would say, either they smash or they
Crash.
they die, or they crunch basically, or they die basically. That's destinies of this type of fullback.
How good was Pape Matsar, Quinny? He's definitely an Ange player. I can hear Ange with his Australian accent going like, "You're young, mate. Just give your all. Just don't think about tomorrow. Just do it."
Yeah, he was definitely good. So Basuma was kind of omnipresent in midfield, as you would maybe expect, kind of everywhere and anywhere. Maddison kind of supported the front line, pressing on and being that kind of playmaker. And Pape Sarr was just like cleaning things up. We never really got that element of a midfielder at Celtic, but it's easy to imagine that would have been something like Tomoki Iwata would have done, or a few other kind of players or whatever. And yet his score is very good, right? Also got the goal, and again, I think the thing with Pape Sarr is probably a good kind of Sorare lesson or whatever, right? But like everything he done in the game, I think, is represented on this scoring matrix. I think everything he done was a scoreable action. He won a tackle, he won a duel, he made a pass, etc. Whereas with Doggy, a lot of the really good stuff he done, it's not really a scoreable action. It's taking up different positions and it's having a nice pass, and a non-danger, that kind of stuff. So it's one of those ones as well where it's like, because if you watch the game, you would not have seen this guy. He didn't do that much, but it feels like looking at his score, I didn't realize he got an 89. Everything he done must have got a point, like everything he done was meaningful.
What the Doggy did most of the time is he basically went in, and then basically Casemiro had to go out, and then there was a lot more space on the left side, obviously, and was crucial for him. And that's not scored. But how should they score that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't really, can you? So I know I'm with you on that. So yeah, Ange Ball's alive. They've beat Man United 2-0, and I'll be looking forward to seeing what they do up front, because it's really the last piece of the puzzle. I thought Vicario was a good keeper. The defense maybe needs another little bit of work, maybe, but overall pretty decent.
I do like the defense, to be honest. Also on the name basis, Udogie, you have the Mickey Van Ven, and Udogie, you have the two youngsters who can still grow a lot. Romero is the guy with the experience who just kills opponent because he's Argentinian from his blood. And on the other side, you have Pedro Porro, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but he's decent. So I think he could be a pretty decent defense, to be honest. And Vicario is a very good goalie. And if he keeps up playing like this, I think he's going to take over the Donnarumma spot very soon in the Italian national team.
He's a bit crazy, and I like a wee bit of a crazy in my goalkeeper.
Yes.
He's a wee bit zany,
Especially with Spalletti now being the new Italian national coach, I could see him putting a crazy goalkeeper in the net, to be honest.
Yeah, but we had a crazy goalkeeper and a normal tempered goalkeeper, I guess, in this game. Man City Newcastle, did you lads catch this?
I catch only the last 30 minutes, and I couldn't really read anything out of that goal, out of these last 30 minutes.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Score because I got his card.
Yeah, you can probably imagine how this game went just by looking at the scores. If you've seen the Alvarez goal, it was a world day, it's an absolute perler. Haaland didn't really have much of a sniff in this game, and you can probably imagine 90 minutes of football now, because that's all it was. Basically, nothing really happened too much.
Haaland didn't have a sniff because he played against Sven Botman, and I'm gonna tell this again. Sven Botman is a crucial player, and he's superbly good. Haaland, the only 2 games Haaland didn't score when he played 90 minutes was when he played against Newcastle, and both of the times he was in the pocket of Sven Botman. Both of the times.
Yeah, only 2 shots on target for the big man. He'd barely get near it. And it was one of those ones where I think Man City take the 1-0 win quite happy, probably. And Newcastle, I felt for them it was a wee bit of an opportunity missed, because they could have turned up a bit more. They could have really asked a few more questions of this City team, because in the first half, like, Kovacic was just like Rodri's shadow, and Man City don't have 2 players doing the same job in that sense, if you know what I mean. And it wasn't really until the second half where Kovacic started to skip by some people and go forward, because he's not at Chelsea anymore. He can actually move up the ball, move up the pitch with the ball. And then that gave Akanji the room to do the John Stones thing. It wasn't really until the second half got going that Man City started to become that monster of just ruling the pitch and doing what they wanted for the most part. So I think Newcastle's been an opportunity missed for them. In the league, I caught a few other bits and pieces in the Prem, but nothing too exciting to kind of go on about. Was there anything in England you guys caught or were happy about, or whatnots?
Chelsea being smashed again. What happens? And Enzo Fernandez missed a penalty as well.
Yes. Really really good save. Or was that a save? In fact, I did see the penalty. I know he missed it, but yeah, it was a save, wasn't it? Yeah. from Areola, because he was getting talked up in the pre-match for being selected for this game, because he's been kind of, West Ham goalkeeper situation has been kind of in and out.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 assists from James Ward-Prowse on his debut. It was West Ham were tidy. They were really good, and they're like quite befitting of their Conference League champion, title that they've got at the moment. They look like a proper upper end Europa League outfit. Maybe lower end Champions League. They're really good, really solid, smart subs. I think at good times of the game, and Chelsea were just rubbish, man.
Chelsea.
Really, yeah.
Malo Gusto starting.
Disassi was terrible. Disassi was rotten.
Surprise.
No one.
Not a surprise.
No one.
Disassi, Malo Gusto on one side. What is this?
Yeah.
Oh,
Exactly.
hi.
Oh, hey, puppy.
We got a new guest. He's a good boy.
How do you speak to dogs in Italian?
Ciao, bello.
Ciao, bello.
Papa, Michael.
It's the same way you speak to humans.
And the last thing we'll probably see on that Chelsea game is Casiedro obviously comes on, gives away the penalty, which is just funny. Just before I can't wait to sign for Chelsea and all the money and the saga and everything. And Mikhailo Mudryk goes on to disappoint further. But yeah,
Top of the league in the NPL is Brighton. Caicedo must be happy that he left.
Yeah, he must be buzzing.
Did you see? Did you see the tweet from the Brighton Twitter admin? That was savage.
I didn't.
No.
He said he just.
I thought one about the assist.
No. He had the picture of Caicedo doing basically conceding the penalty, and the headline was, "The funds were. It's already paid. It's not refundable."
Love that.
Ouch.
The last base for us to touch.
Sorry, did you see the Mitoma goal? Just quickly.
Oh yes. Messi.
Let's see if he keeps doing it. Anyway,
Caicedo is 110 million. What do they get from Mitoma?
200 at the moment.
At
this rate.
He'll probably go to Chelsea between now and August 31st.
He doesn't go to Chelsea, does he?
No. I don't think Chelsea has any more money to spend, to be honest. If they spend another big timer now, I think they should get in real financial trouble. But I think apparently Florian Balogun is on his way to Chelsea.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Yeah, because I saw it in the first. I didn't watch the game before, but I saw that Jackson was not up to the task. So I was already thinking, when are they actually gonna sign a new striker?
You know who's worth 100 million? Jude Bellingham.
Yes. So great catch and great save for me, Jeremy. But yeah, the last base for us to touch is La Liga, and probably the only game I didn't catch was again Bellingham. I've not really seen much of him in La Liga. I caught a little bit of the debut, didn't catch anything at the weekend. But yeah, Real Madrid and Bellingham, guys, what were they up to?
Phenomenal. I think he's gonna be at the end in like 2 or 3 weeks. He's gonna be the most expensive rare card on Sorare. Even him being a midfielder where there's more options, but he's so good. This kid is so good. I can't describe him in words. I love him to death, and he can play everything as we've seen today. He can play in 6, he can play the 8, he can play the 10. He could even play striker. I think he could play.
He
everything
was striker like every other opportunity. He was in the box.
Yes, he's amazing. He's just pure athleticism. And Real Madrid, I'm not too sure about the defensive stack, to be honest, with Real Madrid. The defense doesn't look rock solid. Even if they're gonna get Kepa now in instead of Lunin. Even Lunin did good, I think, but it's just the symbiosis is not there yet. The Militao was so important for that, and also Thibaut Courtois from their regen, from doing the strategy from behind the back. It's gonna be kind of interesting to see, but especially the midfield of Real Madrid is gonna make so many people so happy. Vinicius got his goal. I'm not too sure yet still if he's gonna keep up scoring the same as he did last season, because the position is just too different in a way. And if he doesn't score, I'm very keen to see what SO5 scores he's gonna have. More like in the range 35 to 40, or maybe 40 to 50, or maybe 50 to 60. But I wouldn't bank on the Real Madrid defense until Thibaut Courtois and Eder Militao is back. And yeah, so I'm not too sure if Real Madrid full stack is the way to go at the moment, but playing Tchouaméni and Bellingham, which we said last week, Tchouaméni is gonna be the nail starter. I think he's so good. Carlo Ancelotti wants from him. He again played 90 minutes. The only midfielder who played 90 minutes again. It's gonna be superbly. I'm gonna be very excited to watch Real Madrid. And SO5 wise, Tchouaméni and Bellingham are gonna make so much damage. Both of them in U23 as well. Holy moly!
And if anybody doesn't know that about Tchouaméni, he's obviously tall, so he's good on set pieces. He almost scored a goal actually on the weekend, and he also has a mean shot on him and doesn't mind taking them from distance. So there's definitely ability for him to get some goals in. So he's if he plays, which he plays now, we know he's a no-brainer. Yeah, that midfield is crazy. Yeah, defensively I agree with you, but that midfield was just impressive. You're wondering why they need an Mbappe when you have all this in there.
Also, the attack is very good from standpoint in real life, because they create so much confusion with Vinicius Junior and Rodrigo, because they're so fast as well, and they come up in places where the defender didn't see them before. But I'm just not too sure if they're gonna be so good in SO5. In real life, I think they're gonna be looking very good this season, except the defense.
Yeah, it's definitely patchwork back there, isn't it? So Almeria's a bit of an easier game than what they're probably going to get as the season goes on. Bottom half team in the league typically, but yeah, great to see Big Bellingham. I think I maybe went against the grain on this show and predicted that Bellingham would be better at Madrid than what he was at Dortmund. Fedo. So we'll see if we can get some footage pulled up on that for next week, and we'll see. But we'll see about that. But yeah, Bellingham is killing it, man.
Yeah, no, I remember I had a conversation with Harry on our pod that I said, I bet with you that Jude Bellingham is a better number 10 than Arda Güler, and he didn't trust me, and Bellingham is showing him that he is.
Yeah, he's just an all action. He can do it all, can't he? So I think they'll be really powerful. Another team that a lot of people have been looking at, hoping this year would be their year in SO5, was Atletico de Madrid. And I've got to admit, I love. Don't got to admit, but like I was watching Sorare the other day, and Sean said it perfectly that watching Atletico Madrid is pain. Like it's a sore thing to do, is watch Real Madrid play football. Atletico Madrid, I beg your pardon. And yeah, it was like that again at the weekend. It was quite sore to watch. There wasn't much fun in the game, as it were. But Griezmann has had 2 bad games in a row. I know that's letting some folk down. But I think Athletic, they're getting the clean sheets in. So that means All Black's happening, which is good as long as the goalkeepers keep clean sheets. That's the first thing. But I think
what's going on in centre back?
Yeah.
Alex Witsel, Yannick Carrasco.
Yeah, so Witzel's in at centre back. And I think the main problem here with the team is that there's in centre back, they can't register Soyuncu just yet because of financial balancing and stuff like that. Yeah. And he is clearly if you've seen through pre-season, he was a big part of their plans. He is a big part of their plans, along with Azpilicueta, who's been quality. But see with guys like DePaul, he's just rejected Saudi Arabia personally. He has rejected going to Saudi. He's going to stay. He spoke to Simeone, he spoke to the Argentina manager, and I think both of them said, go there and you're done. So he said, okay, well, I'll stay here. But other than that, so that just happened this morning. But guys like Lamar, Witsel, Carrasco, Morata, there's a few guys here that still are questionable whether they're going to stay, and they're on huge wages. And let's say Soyuncu can't get registered, never mind anything else that they might want to do in the transfer market. So they're in a real sticky wicket. They're now Atletico Madrid, and I think once they clear that clog and they can register Soyuncu and they can clear out some of the people that are going to leave and whatever, I think there will be, a wee bit of an upturn in SO5 production, as it were. But Betis, by the way, they're going to be top 4 this year. I can tell you that now, if not top 5. 100%. 100%. Roca, Isco, Guido is a trifecta. And I've seen as well, guys, on Twitter, Guido Rodriguez, wait till you spit this one out, has got a minimum fee release clause of 12 million euros.
Wow.
And Liverpool just spent 15 on Wataru Endo.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
I think there'll be quality. I think keep ahead. The only reason I know that is because Atletico have been linked to him because Koke is out injured, but they won't buy him unless they can sell DePaul or something. But that's not going to happen now. So
No, but I think the Paul wants to stay.
Yeah, he does.
I just want to add one more thing, and I have to give a shout out to Harry for that,
Right.
because he predicted it correctly, and he told me in private that probably the best defensive Champ Europe stack is gonna be FC Barcelona, and I think it's gonna be right. They look so good in defense; they're not conceding at the end. And Lucas Koundé and Marc-André ter Stegen,
Jules Koundé.
Jules Koundé. Yeah, sometimes Jules Koundé and Marc-André ter Stegen look so good. It's unbelievable. And yeah, he's probably right. I hope our boy Alex Balde is gonna play a little bit better soon. But yeah,
Gundogan bringing that experience in the middle. Look at that shiny 100.
It's crazy. No, I think even last year under Xavi, they didn't concede anything, like very rarely, and it seems to go on. And I think ter Stegen and Koundé is a very great stack, very very great stack.
Yeah, I think so too. Ter Stegen's just out and out quality, isn't he? He's a top end keeper, and when he's getting clean sheets and good scores, that's when you can take a keeper like that. And Koundé is turning up in a big way. You can see that there. But yeah,
look at the last goals from Koundé. It's crazy.
But I watched parts of this game. I didn't watch the full thing, but I know these scores are beautiful, but Barca weren't that like killer in the game. You know, like Gundogan's had to get 45 points here because they were knocking at the door all game. You know, 14 balls into the box, 5 attempted assists, only 1 actual assist. That's Barca at home at Cadiz. You'd expect that to be 5-0. Gundogan to be on 3 assists or something, you know. But it's just, again, I think maybe similar to Atleti. Or maybe not, they're maybe a wee step ahead, but it's just maybe a wee bit of cohesion with some of these new faces in. Like Lamar, I think they're waiting for Cancelo to come. And yeah, 1 or 2 others kind of floating around there, Fatty, Ferran, and you know, whatever. But yeah, that was a good result for SO5.
Finally, a good score from Pedri again. Pedri didn't have any good scores in a long time.
Yeah, that's true. It struggled, eh?
Yeah, big time.
One thing that could be a difference for Barcelona, it might be a little thing, but I think it plays, is they're not playing at Camp Nou this season. They're playing at the Olympic Stadium of Barcelona near the beach. So it's not going to be the same atmosphere and maybe fervor that you would have when you're at Camp Nou. So some teams might take advantage of that.
I think that it being the Olympic Stadium and has the runway over before.
Yeah, it's got the athletic tracks around the stadium before you get to the fans. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. So it's going to be not as close at Camp Nou. Let's say that.
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I wasn't sure if at first I'd wait for the commentators to tell me. I wasn't sure at first if they just take the top off the new camp when they were redeveloping it, or if it was a whole new place, because it was, you know, it was all decked out, you know, with the Barca badge and all that everywhere, you know. So it was one of those ones where I wasn't too sure at first. But yeah, it's a cool wee place.
Isn't Real Madrid also not playing in Santiago Bernabeu or something like that?
They're playing it's over. That was 2 seasons ago. They were playing at the training team, but last year they went back to Bernabeu.
No, but I think I heard that they might need to go back for some games again as well, because something has to be done in Santiago Bernabeu as well. I don't know. Yeah, but it's Camp Nou Spotify anyways now.
Well, the last thing I wanted, or not one of the last things, but the next thing I wanted to bring up with La Liga, I was telling you guys before we come on, but Villarreal are thoroughly terrible, and this is probably maybe going to be the death of Danny Parejo on Sorare. I watched a little bit of this game. I watched a fair amount of it. Mallorca at home are always pretty formidable, but Villarreal looked stinking bad. Like, honestly, I don't really.
How did Moreno play? He
was okay.
Okay.
He was okay, mate. But see, like this whole front line, mate, they just didn't connect. Nothing really worked for them. You know, they just honestly they didn't look like a team. You know, it was a lot of I don't know. They were just rubbish. They were just really poor. I know they've won the game and all the rest of it, but that's partly down to Mallorca being like 8 at the back and trying counter attack all the time. Villarreal had all the possession, all the game, and they just couldn't do anything with it repeatedly. You know, they were just thoroughly bad and out of ideas. The last team I'll talk about actually for Sorare is, I know myself and a few other people out there have been pretty buzzing about the potential for some Girona action this year with the likes of Saganagov, Dovbike, who will hopefully get cards for this year, Pablo Torre, as well as some of the usual cast that was there last season. And they were playing my other team that I quite like in Spain, Getafe. So I watched this one. My boy Juan Iglesias, by the way, he's coming in good. He's playing right mid now rather than right back. So he came in with a pretty tidy score. Sorry, I didn't do me any good, but Girona looked really good. Yangel Herrera was playing like attacking mid. I made the joke last week with someone. I was really happy that he outscored Alex Garcia. He'd done it by like 1 point last week, but again this week he's outscored Alex Garcia, and I think that's going to happen all season long because he is like the attacking mid, penetrating the box. Saganagov looked good. Savio looked good. Miguel Gutierrez looked fantastic in this game. And I think Girona could be top 7.
Savio does look... Yeah, I think Girona could play for European spot, 100%. They have a decent team, especially in confront to other Spanish teams. I think the lack of depth in some Spanish teams is crazy. But Savio, just to talk about Savio a little bit, he looks way better than he looked at Eindhoven, for example. Like, he on another level. Like, the summer break really did him great.
Yeah, he's rapid. Like, he's so direct and so quick. He starts like back here where he is on the screen, and he'll just run with the ball like all the way up to there, like very well. You know, it was really eye catching. Yeah, Stuani was decent. It's just an old guy up front just to put them in. You know? He was all right. That Dovbike, this is who the hope is. This guy is 26. Well, I thought he was young, the way people go on about him. But this is the guy that people want to come in and replace him. Where did he come from?
Yeah, they had Tati. I think they should have just bought Tati, to be honest. But yeah,
I think it's probably beyond their budget. Eh? But yeah, it was a big weekend, guys. It was an absolute pleasure. Normally, we would stay and hang on and do like a full preview, I think, of the weekend to come. But Fedo is on holiday and schedules are tight and everything. So we had a really big weekend, guys. I think, you know, for the first like 2 or 3 minutes or so, is there anything in this coming weekend that you're excited for watching, excited to build a stack out against, or anything like that? And maybe an OP fixture that you've already seen on lineup builder in your favour, Jeremy?
PSG Lens is happening this weekend. Obviously, the first against the second, it's a game that you're going to have to watch. I don't know how it fares for scores, but I can tell you if I had him in my gallery, clearly I don't, I'd put Mbappe up front 100%. Against the second of the league, he's going to be starter for the first time in Paris at home. He's going to at least score 1 goal at least. So yeah, PSG Lens is definitely the game to have a look at for.
What about you, Fedo?
Leipzig, Stuttgart, Leipzig at home. I think it's going to be a spectacle. I think it's going to be a great game, to be honest. And it's on Friday night as well, so not many other games going around. So it's pretty calm. You can just enjoy that one game. And it's going to be a offensive spectacle. And hopefully maybe Leipzig can keep a clean sheet as well. And then Magan is going to have a monster score.
Nice. I'm going to say this weekend it'll be a Ciro Immobile hat-trick as Lazio are at home to Genoa, who we were praising Fiorentina earlier. They were playing Genoa. So, you know, maybe Fiorentina are good, maybe Genoa are really bad. But with Lazio throwing the game away, they did. Immobile looks up for it. He was really right up for it. He played at the 90 minutes. And that whole bounce back thing, you know, get embarrassed 1 week, come back the next. I think Big Ciro will be on it.
Yeah, Immobile is a great player, very great player. He just needs to be loved, and then it's just not working outside of Italy. Let's say that.
That's it. Well, guys, it's been a great one. And to everyone that joined us live, thank you very much. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
See you soon.
Au revoir.